welcoming speech from the Honorable Secretary, Honorable Acting Secretary, and then from there we can give some senior officers here to give us the history of our property, or our property since 1972.
Nafikiri briefly too, tutajia the reason why we started this group. We all know we are all shareholders of Ruaraka. We were shareholders of Ruaraka housing project. At the same time, we also bought a house, equivalent to a Matungulu house. Later, we christened it Utumishi house. And this we bought through check-off system, through the Kenya Police SACCO. And I believe we have people who started buying their houses in Ruaraka way back in 1982, before we joined the service. When we joined the service, up to detail 57, we contributed and paid off the loan that was used to secure that land in Ruaraka, where we built 31 bungalows that were listed out to Safari Park Hotel. And then thereafter, immediately we completed paying for that, the SACCO again came with another project, wanting to buy a house just up here, Matungulu house for Matungulu SACCO. We again contributed for a period of time, and then we also managed to clear the loan that was secured by the SACCO to buy that property. All of us have share certificates for both the Ruaraka housing project and Utumishi house. Along the line, we came to realize that we are getting nothing from these two projects. We were not getting any dividends from Ruaraka, and then the dividends we were trying to get from Utumishi investment was minimal, 200 shillings, 70 shillings for the last 7 years. The value of that house then, when we bought it, was 100 million. 7 years later, what is the value of that property? We are not being told. And you will find that we've never had any else. Something else that we need to take note of the Kwamba, when we were coming up, when people were coming up with Utumishi investment, we the shareholders were not informed. When they decided to remove Ruaraka housing project from the police SACCO and make it Ruaraka Housing Estate Limited, we were not informed. We should also note that when we were being given share certificates for Ruaraka housing, we had paid off the loan. So that property had its owners. Hakuna mtu mwingine kutoka nje. Equally, when we were buying Utumishi house, we cleared a loan. So we have a role of the original shareholders. Any other person who came after is not supposed to be benefiting from that house. But members, that is exactly what is happening. So we realized most of us are retiring. I think Utumishi house, the last detail to buy shares in Utumishi house was number 64. And if there are so many years remaining in the service, it's not more than 7 or 8 years. We are all going home. So when we go home, how are we going to live the status of our property? Are we going to allow people to continue benefiting from our sweat? Because we tried to check on the status of Ruaraka housing project land, we realized that the police SACCO gave out that land for subdivision in 1993. Sisi tuko tu, but 1993, our property was being sold off. Nobody talked about it. We now realized that the 31 houses are no more, they are all sold. We have a small shopping mall that are put up there, and they are saying that it's all about Ruaraka housing project. These people are getting money, they are buying land, they are selling all this land, this money is not getting to the shareholders. Na ndio tukasema, wacha tujaribu tuone if we can be able to salvage our property. If we can be able to go to court to rudishiwe LR 8393 the way it was. Because Sidhani kama kuna member hata mmoja ambaye aliweka kidole yake akasanction that those houses be sold. Sidhani. Equally, Utumishi House, we the original shareholders should take possession of that property. Once we've taken possession of that property, we can decide on what to do with it. Tutaendelea kuimiliki or we sell it off, kila mtu alipe pesa yake kulingana na his shares. So we started off a small group, we were around 47 initially, and then the moment this issue went out to the stations, now the group is growing by the day. So we are all victims, and it's my prayer that we sit down, agree on the way forward. We've already brought in a legal hand that is going to direct us through this process until we recover what is ours and any other thing accrued ambayo imepatikana through ile nyumba na ule uwanja wa Kasarani. So gentlemen, hapo ni tupo, and tunaomba Mungu ya kwamba by the end of this justice itapatikana. Asanteni.
I think before
One, two, three.
There's something I need to read to the members.
Jambo, I'm Abdul Rashid Golo, retired.
okay. Before we proceed, I would like to give at least, because we are few, at least one member, at least each of the members present, to say something about this investments. Thank you.
I've been a member of police SACCO since 1988, and I've not seen the fruits of this thing because I was only called once and given the certificate, and from that time we have never heard anything about it. So I wonder what type of thing it is, because we've been paying money through our salary, and all of a sudden everything went silent. So we wanted to know about what will happen.
Just to echo the same, the members, the shareholders, we have been denied our rights for a long time, and we are one of the members who have very prime properties in Nairobi, but we do not benefit from them. The properties where they are located, they have been mismanaged. Members have been taken in circles. Things have been done with a lot of secrecy in the pretext of discipline, and many people have taken advantage of discipline. So this is the time, and we are going to follow this to the end.
My name is Gabriel. I'm just suggesting we do a valuation of the land or the property, the two projects, the Ruaraka and the Utumishi, before we can proceed on.
Again, I'm detail 57, 1988. Guys, let us hold this thing to the latter. Thank you.
Hello. It's unfortunate we are going through what we're going today. The initial plan of acquiring property by the Commissioner of Police then was very good for the officers, for posterity. Unfortunately, things went south. The worst case scenario is Ruaraka Housing Estate, where records are not properly kept. Whatever was transferred there from the SACCO then has been doctored. I'm a victim of losing shares while I bought extra shares besides the initial offer, which I bought from officers who are retiring and their next of kin upon the demise of their share contributors. The AGMs have been conducted in a very weird manner. And I'm not afraid to say, most of the retired comrades who had a lot of faith on the management that was vibrant then, they continued supporting them. Even if you point anything that was glaring and wrong, you'll be rubbished off by the senior so-called comrades because they used to hold senior positions. And probably they had very minimal shares comparative to others. It's unfortunate that a management can run an organization for more than 20 years running. The chair has been there, has been unmoved for long. Buying of extra property by the Ruaraka estates from Lamu those records should be pursued and be known whether it's true, they exist or they don't exist. For the property, for the property of Ruaraka Housing Estate, besides what Ruaraka has, there's another plot that was said, the other property that was said to have been bought from Lamu. The chair announced once. The records of the AGM either be sought, that information be got from there. However, one thing I would wish to be followed closely, the list of the members, when it was transferred from the SACCO to Ruaraka to be an independent entity, does it still exist? And if it exists, does those shares of those members still remain the same? Because for one, I'm a victim of that. I had bought so many shares, and when it went the other side, my shares were reduced. They paid some dividends. I think maybe could have been 2014, thereabout. And when I saw what was being paid against my shares, I refused to take the money. Because I told them, this is not what I was worth to be paid. However, I learned later that the money was transferred to be additional on my shares, which was interesting. I never gave the authority for that. I convened a meeting with them, and they say that I never used the right protocol of buying shares. And I told them, this is neither here or there. As we talk now, they don't pick my calls, and it's not easy to get them. If through such a forum like this one, they'll be caught up, let them answer. Do we have still the record? I'll provide, and I have a copy of a portion of the membership shares transfer where my name exists. On that piece of that page, my name exists. And some of my friends who are already deceased, their names are there. And others who are still serving are still there. If they'll not be able to produce that whole booklet, they should be held accountable. It's very interesting to hear that we've had AGM, some of them attended by less than 10 people. I saw then virtual meeting, and we are already past COVID days. It's unfortunate. An AGM should be one-on-one. Enzi za kusemekana 1 meter apart zilipita. But they still maintain that. Is a sorry state for that. Ruaraka is a very prime place. That 1 units were constructed. I visited inauguration of the buildings way back in 1989. I visited Ruaraka when I was a member of Inspectorate, accompanied the OCPD Madera then, Gideon, the late Gideon Mutuarandu Mudhomi, Senior Superintendent of Police then. So I saw posterity for the police. Unfortunately, it has gone south. If there is a way to salvage the situation, so be it. Thank you.
Habari ya leo sai. Story ya hii Ruaraka na Utumishi ni mingi sana. Hata tukiongea leo yote, hata 24 hours tuwezi maliza. Ile mambo iko, ile shida tu imetuleta hapa, imeongolewa. Nilipata certificate ya kwanza ya Ruaraka tarehe 10 mwezi wa 3 1992. Ile ya Utumishi investment nilipata July 1998. Sasa hii Ruaraka na Utumishi haina tofauti. Kama wametulagai, wote wametulagai. Kwa mwaka Utumishi wanaitisha AGM kwa mwaka mara moja. Ukikuja pale tunapewa chai kikombe moja, mayai moja, andasi moja. Alafu after AGM tunapata shilingi 2,000. Inasemekana hiyo breakfast imeworth 4 million shillings. Hiyo breakfast ni 4 million shillings. Lakini mimi member kwa hiyo mwaka napata shilingi 2,000, hata sijakosa chai kwangu. Si tugawa hiyo 4 million shillings kwa ile watu wamekuja hiyo GM. Iko shida kubwa sana, na kama itafuatiliwa mzuri vile sasa madugu zetu wametusaidia kufufua hii maneno, tutakuwa tunapata haki kubwa sana. Asante sana.
Okay, thank you. Mimi kwa majina ni Kevin. Venye tumekuja hapa hivi tumewakilisha hata wale hawangeweza kufika, kwa sababu vile wakati hii tulianzisha hii maneno ya utumishi investment, juzi walikuwa na mkutano. Kwanza walitutumia kwa masimu ati kutakuwa na sijui link kwa mtandao, na hiyo hata kwa mtandao pia hata ukijaribu wewe pia ujiwakilishe huko ndani, hata usikie hata communication huko. Lakini unaona tu watu wanakunywa tu chai pale, ni chai. Ukipata nafasi ya kuuliza kaswali, lakini hautauliza swali 2 ama 3. Kama utauliza swali utauliza maybe swali moja, alafu naambiwa haya next. Mimi hapo nilikuja nikauliza tu swali moja juzi wakati walikuwa kwa hiyo mkutano. Hii same members hii tulikuja tukaona 2019. Tangu hiyo wakati mpaka saa hii the same people hao ndio wako tu. Hakuna mazuri ile wanatuambia, hakuna mazuri yale tunaona. Faida ya hiyo kitu hata sisi pia hatuoni. Tuliandikwa 1987. Sasa tumebakisha miaka kama 3, 4 tunaenda nyumbani. Na hapo unaambiwa ati mtoto yako ata benefit hapo. Kama mimi mwenyewe sija benefit. Sasa kuna hakika ya kwamba hata mtoto wangu atakuja kubenefit hapo? Hakuna. Lastly, wakati kulikuwa na mkutano, tulipata nafasi tu, tulisikia iko mkutano huko Ruaraka, tukaenda. Tulienda, wakaongea vitu mzuri hapo, maneno ya kujenga manyumba, investment, sijui vitu gani, sijui Lamu. Tutajenga manyumba. Hizo manyumba hatujai kusikia ati zimejengwa, ati okay, maybe wamejenga kama 10. Kuna zingine zimeisha, kuna zingine kama 3 tuna expect ziishe, watu waingie. Hatujaona. So sisi kwa niaba ya wale wenye wako nje, wale hawangeweza kufika, wengine walishaaga. Na hatujui sasa nani atakuja kuwakilisha hata wale wameaga. Tungeomba na tunaomba ikiwezekana, hii ndio mkondo mpya, kwa sababu kama walikuwa nafikiri ati sasa tumelala, hii si ile wakati watu walikuwa wamelala. Tumeamuka na itabidi sasa tutafuatilia hii kitu maneno juu chini mpaka tujue ukweli iko wapi. Na ikiwezekana hiyo list ambayo inasemekana the total number ya wale wenye wako, kwa sababu hata wengine walikuja wamesahau, hata wengine sawa kwa mtandao, wengine wanaonyesha hizo makadi, wengine wanasema hata alikuwa yani hana hope, alishatupa, hajui kama maybe yako nayo. So ikiwezekana tunataka tufuatilie hii maneno na ijulikane tutaenda wapi na tutafika wapi. Mazuri ndio tunataka. Hakuna haja sisi tulianzisha kitu alafu kuna wengine wanaenda kazini kwenda kulamba utamu yao hapa, na sisi tunaendelea kuumia hapa. Unashindwa hata kununua hata ile nguo ya ndani. Hatutaki kitu kama hiyo. Tunaomba na tunawakilisha wale wenye wako wana uwezo ya kufika, tutawakilisha vile itawezekana. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening. My name is Joseph Mushiri Muteria, D257. Actually, it's a weak call. We have been waiting for anything tangible or good to come out of the project that we started. I can say D2 number 57 is the D2 that revived all the projects of the police circle. It wasn't even our wish or our will by then. We were forced under a very a regrettable person to see one of the people, senior officers by then, who was forcing us to join the circle and those contribute for those investment, is still the one who went ahead and diverted all our investment for his own benefit. In fact, it is now our time. We reclaim our investments. We worked for it. We have worked for more than that, almost now that 5 years, without anything good coming from the project. The money you've been saving for all that long, people enjoying our sweat. So let me call everybody, every member, wherever you are, to come up, join, let us join hands and bring whoever wants to claim the directorship, let him come out and account to us. And then let us make arrangements to revive and have our own directorship team that will steer us ahead as we claim our properties back. Thank you, gentlemen, and let us join hands and be one team. Thank you.
Okay, as you've heard, the founders of Police Circle had a very good intention for its officers, and they started doing it way back before some of us were employed. And they laid down the foundation to see that everybody who joins the police force would be happy after retirement and would enjoy his sweat. But now, that's not the case. That's why few of us, after consultation and talking on the way forward after our retirement, came out with a decision that we try this matter through a legal way. And with that in mind, we agreed and we started the process. So as we are here, we are in the process of taking this matter before court so that we may salvage something small from our sweat. Actually, most of the people have retired. The last ones who are detail 5-7, those are the last ones of these projects. I think by 2030, none of them will be in service. So with that in mind, I believe you will support us. We take this matter to court and we see if we shall get anything. And as we are going, I'm seeing a light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you.
Just briefly, on the wall, we have 476 members who have joined vita. And then those wale ambao wametuma details zao, so far tumefika 267. So I can see some commitment on our part ya kwamba all of us tumejitokeza na kwamba tunataka haki itendwe. Na si haki kwa wale tulio hai peke yake. Kuna ndugu zetu ambao tunawafahamu walifariki, na wao walichanga pesa tukaweza kununua ile nyumba iko pale juu na ule uwanja kule Kasarani na tukajenga. A brief history of the Ruaraka housing project, because initially tulikuwa tumesema kwamba we start with the Ruaraka housing project, but later along the line we realized wale members ambao walijenga Ruaraka ndio wale members ambao pia hali kadhalika wako wapi? Utumishi house. So we decided now to put the two together so that we fight one war. We kill two birds with one stone. Wakili stand advised, because the first time we met you, we were discussing about Ruaraka project. Now we've brought in another cow, ambaye lazima tunataka kuirudisha nyumbani. Ukiangazia kwa makini zaidi, we have two intentions, ambazo you members ambao mmekuja hapa na wale wengine ambao mnatuwatch online, you will pass and agree that this is what we want and this is what we've said. Hatungependa sana iwe ni kwamba kuna watu wachache ambao wanasukuma ili gurudumu, and that is why we had started off, nilisema tulikuwa watu 47, detail 57. To correct my chairman here, David, the last bones wa hizi project ni number 64, ambao wao walihusika kununua hii nyumba ya Utumishi house, so atuwaweke kando. We had an interim committee, ambaye the interim committee that started us off was chaired by Moses Epoloto, and then we had members, watu walikuwa wamependekeza kwa mtandao. I was a member, and as the secretary, George Msamali, and then we had David Ndiema here, alikuwa pia ni member, na kuna jamaa ambaye anaitwa Askari Yongo, who was also a member, na Robert Karani, who was a member. So the agenda today kwanza ni sisi tunajitoa ofisini. Now we want popular appointed people by the members. Kwa hivyo members ambao wako hapa tutaamini mtaakilisha wale wengine, so that we appoint a chairman, we appoint a secretary, we appoint a treasurer, and then each cadre of group we have a member. So that is the team ambayo tutaita steering committee, and the steering committee will be working closely with our lawyer, legal representative, and then these are the people watakuwa nafuatilia hizi kesi na kuhakikisha wakili yako na kila kitu ambacho anahitaji ndio tuweze kusukuma ili gurudumu. Na our intention, probably might be somebody else will have a different idea. Our intention is, the way Namaya said, number one, we want the real shareholders of Ruaraka housing project. Wale tulinunua na tukamaliza kulipa na tukapewa stakabadhi. Any other party, sisi hatumjui. That is number one. Equally, we want the original shareholders of Utumishi house. Loan ilichukuliwa, ilikuwa it was 110 million, which we paid to Matungulu Sacco through a loan. And we are the members that contributed and paid that loan to take possession of that building. We want the original owners. Once we have that role, of the original shareholders, we now give, part of the instructions that we'll give to wakili is that ile mtu yote ambaye amenunua shamba ya Ruaraka LR 8393 without authority of us the original members aondolewe, just like the Kirima farm, so that that land goes back to the hands of the owners. We the owners will decide on what to do the moment that cow is back in the kwa boma. Equally, hii nyumba tuseme stakabadhi za hiyo nyumba zipewe the original owners, wale watu wa mwisho kukatwa pesa na loan ikalipwa, ndio landlords wa ile nyumba. We want that wakili, equally that house, to go back to the original owners. These original owners will then decide what to do with that property. That is where we are, and hiyo ndio ilikuwa vision ya wale waanzilishi wa kile kikundi cha kwanza ambacho hivi sasa kimeongezeka na tukakuwa zaidi ya watu 400. So I think Bwana Chairman, before we move, ngoja ndugu, before we continue, I think let us first do the appointment of the steering committee, and then we give members nafasi pia watoe maoni yao so that wakili can be able to take notes, and then we see the way forward. As I am exiting, I was also the treasurer of your team, and so far by saa 8 leo we had collected we had managed to raise 194,000 shillings up to 2 p.m. today, and people are still bringing in the money. We've paid our lawyer 100,000 shillings. I posted the fee note, mkaona. We've paid the people who are doing the streaming for us so that members can be able to follow, and also we've paid for this hall. The balance is here with me. But I'll update once tumetoka hapa, I'll update so that you know the cash at hand. Asanteni. Yes.
Just for clarity, is Utumishi Investment Limited and National Police SACCO one and the same thing, or these are two different entities?
Thank you for that question. Let me clarify. We were all members of Utumishi SACCO, and Utumishi SACCO decided to, Police SACCO. Police SACCO decided kununua property as investment. They decided to have an investment program. So the first investment program, what they did first was to buy land at Ruaraka, just behind Safari Park, and that I've given you the LR number, 8393, and put up houses, residential houses, for letting out. So we built 31 houses. Pale na zikakuwa list kwa Safari Park Hotel. That was a project. And then, after immediately tulimaliza kulipia your project, Police SACCO again came up with another investment project. The investment project was buying a house hapa juu, ilikuwa inaitwa Matungulu House, from Matungulu SACCO, yeah? Na walikuwa nataka waifanye kwa headquarters yao. So again, we went into our pockets, hawa wazee unaona hapa, we bought that house from Matungulu SACCO, tukaita Utumishi House. Still under Kenya Police SACCO. So the SACCO was supposed to manage these investments on behalf of the members, on behalf of the shareholders, the original shareholders, not any other person that has come in later. So these original shareholders were supposed to be getting dividends from these two projects. How Police SACCO handed over these projects to somebody else, akaibadilisha kutoka from under Police SACCO, ikakuwa Ruaraka Housing Estate Limited, these members don't know. How we delinked from the SACCO, we don't know. Again, how we delinked from the SACCO to come up with an animal we call Utumishi Investment Limited, we the members don't know. We never sanctioned that. Hii ni mambo ambayo ilikuwa inafanywa kwa boardroom, inapitishwa na wanafanya wao wenyewe. And this is why now sisi tumekutana na tukasema we want to reclaim our property, we want to reclaim our rights.
Yes. Follow up on the same, after they were sold, the two properties you are talking about, were the proceeds channeled back to the SACCO so that the members got any dividends from it? I had 1 year saying they used to get from Utumishi about 7 shillings or so.
We were not party to the selling, we the members, and we don't know where that money went to, because we were never consulted about the issue of selling that land, that bit of Ruaraka land. We were never consulted. We were never consulted even on any project that is being undertaken by Utumishi Investment. So what we are claiming here is the house which we paid for with our money. So we don't know where this money went to. We've not been receiving any dividend at all. And if you look at the financial statements, they are never declared any dividend. Hizi mamikutano wanafanyanga virtual, every year in, year out, wanasemanga, we are not declaring any dividends, but people are eating.
Could it be that be having the information, maybe because some are no longer in the circle still.
What does the law say about that? If I'm a shareholder, I'm supposed to be notified. Anything that is happening, I'm supposed to be notified. Now, my here said, believe me not, those people don't have a list of the original shareholders. Hawajui tuko wapi? Am I lying? Hawajui tuko wapi? Hawajui ni nani alikufa? Hawajui ni nani alistaafu kutoka huduma ya polisi? Hawajui nani bado yuko kwa service na contact zake. They don't know how to reach us. If you want to get involved with those people, you go there. Ukiwakuta, you'll get a secretary there and she'll tell you, oh, give me your number, ile namba mrefu. Akiangalia kwa ile kitabu ndiye anasema, okay, now I'm computing you. Meaning they don't know who is who. So this is, I would say, we gave money, we gave some people capital to run their personal business. Pesa zetu zilikuwa capital, watu walizichukua zikakuwa ni capital, now they are running their personal business. As Mzee has said, I attended one AGM ya Utumishi Investment hapa Railway Club. Ukiingia, amesema unapewa chai, mayai, mkate. Unaandika jina. Ile mimi niliingia, unapewa kakadi. Ile mimi nilienda, tulipewa 6,600. When I went in, nikawauliza, if you guys are paying people dividends of 200 shillings, where do you get these 6,000 to give us to come and attend? Because hiyo kukuja, ukiweka 6,000 kwa mfuko, unataka kukimbia Karumaindo, wakisema nini, tumepitisha. Wakisema nini, tumepitisha. People are just passing things there without knowing the repercussions. Ndio imetufikisha hapa sasa. Upon entrance, you have attended. Yes. You know, before even meeting ishe, ukiingia tu. Yes.
Last year we were given
After. But that time, we were given before. You see. So these guys are running this business as their personal thing.
The way they feel like doing it,
Yes.
they just do the way they want.
Yeah.
And when you ask that, they're shut down.
You are shut down. Mzee?
Nilikuwa nasema hapo Utumishi House hapo iko wakati niliuliza, nikauliza hapo members ni watu wangapi? Wakaniambia wale iko watu wameongezeka kununua shares pale, lakini polisi peke yake from paka 63 au 64 kitu kama hiyo, wale namba ni 16,000 only, watu 16,000. Sasa mimi nashangaa hii watu wengine wamekuja kununua shares waongezwe hata raia nani kama vile sako zamani ni polisi peke yake, lakini sasa hii hata jeshi ako pale, everybody hata raia wako pale. Sasa vile sasa ofisa alisema hapa, mambo kama hizi ikitendeka inafaa sisi tujue. Na ile story wewe pia umesema ya shilingi 6,000, hiyo story ilisha kitambo sana. Nafikiri hiyo yako ni miaka 10 iliyopita ama 20. Nowadays shilingi 2,000. Vile nilikuambia sasa ile. Hata breakfast tumekuja 4 million shillings. Hiko vitabu tulikuwa tumepewa hapa. Maadvocate sijui nani wa accountants zao ni wale hata kama ni kampani yao haibadiliki. Sasa ile shida iko kubwa, ni hii kazi tufanye kabisa members waridhike. Asante.
I think now we shall go direct to election, interim committee. Is it interim committee or what? Oh,
Tofauti na, me, I want to talk about the election of the
Just
steering
before
committee.
elections. Na nimesikia mkiuliza kuhusu Utumishi investment na Ruaraka housing. Why have you left out Utumishi Academy and whatever Kitengela Sacco, Kitengela housing? I mean plots. Because when I asked about that last general meeting, they refused even to answer. They said there is a case going on, so it will be answered next general election. I mean general meeting.
Yeah, okay. I'll answer member here. because ameuliza about Utumishi Academy. Why we are not focusing on that is that we are still trying to look at the legal grounds ya kuingilia ile shamba, ile shule. Because what these guys will say, the land that shule lijengwa was given by the government. We contributed the money. But wakili will advise us, because sisi tulijenga from down mpaka juu. Now it's a public school by force. It's a public school. It's a national school per se. Yes. None of our children has ever gone to that school. It was intended for officers. That is why it's called Utumishi. The government gave land. We contributed money. We built that school from ground through our salaries. Yeah. So that's why unasikia members are asking, how can we also secure at least some kind of benefit from that school? Or else, tuangaliwe serikali irudishe pesa, turudishiwe pesa zetu, tuwachie shule.
Good evening once again. I was to talk about the steering committee that we want now to formalize our team, because the team that is in the office now was just kind of voluntary. You can agree with me, gentlemen, because we communicated through the WhatsApp and decided to have a voluntary kind of team who will be available. And to me, the team has done a wonderful job. Unless somebody else would want to stand in for whatever post, it's my take that we now formalize the team to steer us ahead, to continue, and if need be, add more members as the office requires, because the team that's volunteered has done us a proud. Unless somebody else has a different opinion, that is my take.
I want to second what that member said. What maybe we need to do is to add the presentation, different cohorts, because I think the shareholders are from detail 50, 51 to 64. So we need that representation so that every cohort can be having a representative in the meetings. We should also consider gender, and also noting the nature of police work, because some of these people are still, some of the shareholders are still serving members, and they may be somewhere where they cannot be reached or to convene and to coordinate these issues. And you don't even know now who the enemy is. Maybe Vigilance House. Enemies are full there. And when these officials are identified, then they will be taken in different directions so that they can kill this idea. So we should consider also that.
I think I wanted to talk about an issue of Kitengela project. Actually, I think I don't have authority to talk about that, but what I know is that there are some officers who had bought those plots, and I think they can follow it up with the police circle. Me, I didn't buy a plot. Yeah, somebody will tell that.
If I can talk about that, that's an investment from the project. So as you know, they have bought several other lands. We have land in Lamu. So those will come after getting the root cause of the whole scenario. I think that is the way to go.
Yeah, I think on that, when these guys forced themselves out of Kenya Police Circle, they went with several projects. Hii group ya Ruaraka housing estate. One of the things they moved out with ni hiyo Kitengela. Yeah, walienda nayo. Where the money went, we don't know. After they sold off that property, we don't know where the money went. Now they have land in Lamu. They are talking about land in Lamu. We don't know what they are doing with that land. Utumishi investment imenunua mashamba Ruai, Kamulu, KBC, Naivasha, but Kajiado, but Isinya huko. But where that money goes, Kisaju, we don't know. So basically, what Mzee said, we have people who came and joined the investment after we had bought the house. So since we don't care about them, what we should fight for is the ownership of the house. Irudi kwetu. So that Utumishi investment, iwe inatulipa nini? Rent. Any other person that amekomboa nyumba pale, analipa rent kwa sisi the shareholders. Dividends yetu kama tutaendelea kumiliki hiyo nyumba, iwe inatoka kwa hiyo rent. Tumerudi nyuma kidogo lakini we are on this.
Procedurally, when an investment has been completed, yani mmenunua nyumba na imekuwa yenu, hiyo nyumba ni ya members. If a new member comes, either he buys the property, the shares from a original member, but not being given shares direct of a property which had been bought by other people. So ile mtu amekuja juzi atatueleza ni nani mtu wa zamani alimuuzia share na ni share ngapi. Sawa.
I think now we can move on to the election item so that we can move ahead. As I said,
those who are in the office, if there are no other people who are offering themselves for election, then we confirm them as members and we proceed. We can give them 1 year so that we stabilize as we go on.
The steering committee that is holding the office for another year, a period of 1 year, as we chart the way forward.
Nauliza, the committee ile mnasema the steering committee walichaguliwa lini? Yeah, I want to know, si mnasema there's a steering committee.
If everybody was in our communication forum, knows how it was started and how the steering committee came about. We actually communicated through the forum, and everybody came into agreement that we have a voluntary committee. Those who are available to take up the matter and lay the ground for the whole issue. Sisi hatuna wale, hakuna wale tulikuwa na wao. This is now, hatuja kuwa na wengine. This is a new team reclaiming their property. And now that we have decided to reclaim our property, if there is a team, that is what we are calling them, faceless team, the directors that are calling us in meetings. And we want them to get this communication that if there is anybody who thinks that he is a director of any of the project, let him come out and face us. But for us now, we have our team that we are electing to be in the office to follow up the matter until we get what is rightfully ours. And actually, the secretary can enlighten to the members whom we elected as our interim voluntary committee, so that everybody can affirm them to continue.
Kwa members tu wale wako, probably I should give a brief history of how this thing started. Hii kitu tulikutana detail 57, a few of us, and we looked into the whole issue of Utumishi House and Ruaraka House. Na tukasema wengi wako kwa bamba 5. Kama ingekuwako ni ile retirement at 55, wachache sana wangekuwa wako hapa. Watu wangekuwa wameenda, wangekuwa shaenda. So we said like ukienda pale individually, the story unapewa pale is not palatable. Unazungushwa. Ukikimbia hapa juu, the similar story. Unapelekwa kushoto, kulia, nini, and they're very rude. If you ask about dividends hapa, mtu anakuambia, if you feel your pesa itoshi, niuzie share zako wewe uende. On your face. Nyumba ambayo ulinunua mwaka 1994. Anakuambia, sell me the shares, you go. Pana sumbua sisi hapa. We are nothing to those people. They don't value us. So when we met a small group, we asked hiyo detail, tuko na wall yetu, how do we face this? We said, no, let us go legal. We started this group. So that hii group tukaiweka sasa ni ya hiyo kazi, na kuna ile group ile main ya detail. So apparently we were 47 when we started. We said let us contribute 1,000 shillings each. We look for legal aid. That is when that committee wale initial wakachagua wakasema we'll have Moses Epoloto as the chairman, we'll have David Ndiema as a member, we'll have Robert Karani as a member, we will have Yongo Askari as a member, and then they said me, George Msamali, I'll act as a secretary. And then at the same time wakasema let me handle also the treasury, because all communication will be coming from me. That is how we set up that group. And as we were continuing, this issue reached out to other members, details zingine. Now wakasema pia wanataka kuungana. And that is why most of you people are here. So people started joining. I have former senior police officers. Kina Mr. Musau is here. Mrs. Rose Bayer, she called me today in the morning. Kina Mr. Titus Yoma wako hapa. Retired officers wako hapa. So this thing is affecting so many people. As you talk, Wakili, you've heard that the membership is 16,000. Wale tumeporwa. So ndugu, that is how we started, and we are expanding. So probably ile kitu ningesema, apart from the initial members, we can expand the group a bit. As he has said, those who are still in service might not be very flexible to be joining us, tukienda kotini, tukifanya nini. But mtu kama Namai, because he's out of service, we can include him as a member, because yeye ako na grip ya history ya hizi vitu zote mbili, Ruaraka na Utumishi. He has ako na history ya hizi. So we can increase him, we can include him as a member to that steering committee. We talked about gender. We have a list here of officers. We can include those retired ladies, moja ama wawili, in that steering committee, and then we move forward.
Let's know the office bearer that we should take the number of representation.
I think we should move that to 9, so that tuwe na quorum. Ikiwa kuna any voting itafanywa, they can be able to ably represent us to make a decision. So far wale wako ni 5, so we need an additional 4.
I'm not off the record.
The skilling police officers
hope you're very careful. Because we know, I know, I've had experiences before where officers have been dismissed for very flimsy things, like probably this. So let that gentleman be very careful, he knows what he's doing, to be part of consequences. Up to date, this date, sioni ile uoga hii hakuna. It is my rightful investing in this. You probably have a big scheme. Some young man somewhere. So, Namai should be
quietly and we agreed, tukasema wacha wakae huko support cast, sisi wale tuko na uwezo tuendelee. I think it's in order. Yes. Hata wacha ukikuwa ndani watasema wewe ni activist, lakini mimi huku nje mimi ni activist tu. So I think now we've added Namai, we need 2 other names to make it 9. Mushiri Joseph.
Then your gender.
Gender. I'll chat after this meeting. I'll chat on the wall. Na wao tuone wale tunaweza weka, and then I'll share the list now. They have been talking to me.
Then you just chat them and
Yeah. Tuko na 2 chances for them. No, kuna wale wako nje. Wale wako nje, they talk to me a lot.
So talk to them.
Yes.
And through the idea that they have been proposed to be members of the steering committee.
Sawa.
Yes.
Okay.
And then you give us their names as usual.
Sawa. Now the next point I think is David. Can you read the resolutions? Mimi tu nazi.
Now, should I read it outside the camera?
No,
or
just read so members will not watch.
Okay, so. Our prayers to our council. One is to find the current position of land parcel number LR 8393 and its subdivisions, and place a restriction until the time that this matter is heard and determined. 2, trace the title deeds of the plot where Utumishi House stands, place a restriction until this matter is heard and determined. 3, trace the bank accounts of Ruaraka Housing Estate Limited and to freeze until this matter is heard and determined. 4, trace the bank accounts of Utumishi Housing Limited and freeze until this matter is heard and determined. The board members of both entities to be stopped from transacting any business until this matter is heard and determined. Both entities to provide members' register of all their members since when they were formed. If there is any other thing that we have forgotten, you can raise it to our council.
You'd also want that mandate extended that resolution extended because Utumishi investment and the Ruaraka housing estate acquired properties. Whatever was acquired by those two entities belongs to the shareholders. We need also to go further and identify all those other properties which have been acquired through the proceeds from those two entities.
Well, Okili, there's another point that he has not mentioned, is that we want those people who are sold that land in Ruaraka out of that premises. It should revert back to the shareholders as it were. That is a prayer. And even if possible, if we can add this one, the board of directors should be investigated by the EACC and the DCI. Yes, they should be investigated, and the court should order that or investigated, because honestly, all that period. Nafikiri nyinyi yote mesikia hizo resolutions. Are we in agreement?
Yes.
By show of hand, in agreement. Wakili, tumekupatia resolutions, and I think now it's your turn to talk to the members. Give us legal advice on how we are going to handle this issue going forward.
Thank you very much, the committee, especially the secretary. I'll actually be very brief as we speak, because basically we still have a lot. I still need a lot of information, which I know is still at your disposal, that may come in very handy when I'm building this case, because this is a case that needs patience to build. It's not, we can't just wake up today and rush to court. We had an intention of doing that, but when I looked back, I said, no, this is not a small case, it's not a small matter. It involves families and individuals who have invested very heavily. So that's when I talked to the secretary and I told him what we need to do. What we need to do is basically sit down with the members, agree on a few issues that members are agreeable about, so that we get proper information of every detail that we've agreed upon, so that when I go to court, I go knowing very well that I have the information needed and I can support it with the law. Because basically what you're telling me is, to me what I'm seeing here is basically what you deal with at the station every day. This is pure fraud and theft. These are fellows you should have arrested and put in if you had the power. Mm.
People are following our scheme.
Mm. These are basically fraudsters, as far as I'm concerned. But since we are also following the proceeds and the property that you own as individuals, we choose to go the civil manner. And going the civil manner, there are few orders that will be seeking the court, or rather from the court, to assist us in getting back this property. The first and foremost one was that I intended to have the court declare this election that was done illegal, because nobody knows about. Are you part of that company? Has anybody ever told you that you own a company by that name?
No. No.
So, and yet they own your property. And number two, we need to know how this property exchanged hands. A proper accounts to be given on how the property exchanged hands, who was involved, where the proceeds went to, and who gave them the authority
to actually sell the property. You bought 2 prime properties. We ought to investigate where all these proceeds go to. I believe some of you go to these AGMs. You probably go there because you believe you're part and parcel of that property, because of the shareholding certificate that you have, hoping that one day a miracle might happen and something good might come out of it. So you end up going there. You don't go there to support the illegality that they have done. It's purely to protect your property. So we need to know the individuals involved ought to be investigated so that we get to the root on how this property moved from point A to point B. And I think I wrote a few. Besides that, declaration and nullification of an election was basically one thing. And then, And one other order that I pondered upon was an order that gives you the authority to come up with a committee that after a while can come up with an office that can actually manage these properties in the interim when you're still deciding on what to do with the properties. Reversion of properties, as they said, that is part of our prayers, because we need the properties to be reverted back to the shareholders. And the shareholders are you people. And we need a proper list that accounts for every individual that paid for the shares. That to be produced in court, so that they start telling us when and how these shareholders actually authorized them to sell this property.
How to deal with the
Yes. No, that proceeds, those are proceeds you can deal with at a later stage. Let's cross the bridge when we get there. Once we put our hands on the proceeds, then you can decide, now it's your property. You can decide on what to do with it. Mukidecide munataka kwenda kuzikunywa karumaindo, you can do that. But the thing is, you have your money at hand or your property, so you decide on whether to dispose of this property and sell them. So let's get there first. So for now, let's not look for so much. Let's look at or investigate or find a way in which these properties can get back to the shareholders. And if possible, mine was to have the court direct that these people be prosecuted. Because you cannot play with people's lives. Savings are people's lives. And I believe EAC can deal with that. You might not need to deal with it directly as officers of of the service. So I think basically for now that's what I need to do. So for me to do this, I'll need your help. I'll basically need copies of your share certificates so that I can display them to court and tell the court that these are the shareholders, these are their share certificates. They got them from the very people. Actually, they got them from the police circle, because I believe it's the police circle that gave you those share certificates, and not these 2 companies.
Yes.
Now we want to know how this turned out to be something else. So one other thing that I'll need signatures from a good number of the officers to consent that they are ready, or they are authorizing a group of their representatives to represent them in court. And I believe as per what the secretary told me, you have your, what they were using were your force numbers. If my memory serves me well.
Yeah, they were using our force numbers.
Yes, yes, yes. So that makes it very easy for us, or for you to be identified as to whether you're a member or not. And I believe basically that's it for now. And the other things that might have to do have been said by the chair. You're the chair. Yes, yes. To investigate the titles and establish whether the title is still intact or it has been subdivided, who it has been sold to.
It was subdivided in
1993. Who it was sold to. Because as far as we are concerned, those are illegal sales. And you have no problem with the title of the Utumishi property.
We have a problem. We have a problem.
Yes, yes.
That's a limited company, so you need to know
Oh.
who are these directors.
You need to know. Oh, yeah. That was one other thing I needed to know. We need to know the directors. We need what we call, there's a form for directors. That's CR12. We need a CR12 for both the companies. Yes, so as to know who is who within those companies. So for now, I think we are still at the investigative level. We should aid one another if need be. In terms of investigating the properties and parcels of land, that one I have no issue with. Maybe if I might need some information, I know most of you are equipped with investigative abilities. You can investigate one or two things that we need to know. They can hardly know whether you're investigating them or not. So we'll need to at least give ourselves 2 weeks before we rush to court, because we need to go with proper information to that court, because wanatungojea pia na mapanga. Because you know, the most dangerous animal is when you, the most dangerous, not wounded per se. You corner a cat, that's when you'll realize that it's small, but it can actually destroy you. So I believe for now that's what we need to do, unless you think there's anything I've left out. You might bring it up.
Wakili, I had a suggestion on my wall from members who are not able to attend, and they were asking, the courts in Nairobi are so busy, we might not get a hearing date hivi karibuni. So they were suggesting that we can either file this in Kajiado, Machakos, or Kiambu, so that we can have a close-by hearing date. That is a member I may suggest. I don't know what you guys think.
That is not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea.
So we'll discuss with Wakili and consider where we're going to file this matter.
The biggest problem might be jurisdiction issue, because the problem, most of the properties are in Nairobi. But anyway,
but we can say that to members who are suing, tunaishi Machakos.
Let me put that on the balance.
Yes, put on the balance.
Look at this, the matter, because like Kasaransi, and majority of the properties are scattered.
Because we have property in Lamu, we have something else in Kajiado, where these guys were put our money there. Machakos, Nakuru.
Those are the informations that are actually going to help me. If I can get concrete information, like for example the property in Kajiado, the property in Lamu, so that once I put them in a basket and weigh my options, we can decide
decide on which court is appropriate to handle this matter. Because Nairobi, for sure, is going to take forever. Bwana Wakili, just as we managed to get the title number for Ruaraka, I think within us, we have people who can easily get those information, and you will get the right information that you require. Yeah.
So nani, kuna mtu ambaye ako na swali kwa wakili? Yeah, we shall consider that, as much as wakili also kwa prayer zake kotini will be asking for criminal proceedings. Ile itakuwa na weight kwa sababu itakuwa imetoka kwa koti. Yeah, and then now we can push. We see who we can touch. Yeah. Wako. Yes. Yeah. Part of the members here, we have senior people at the ESCC. We have senior people in the NIS. They are on this wall. They are just wako too. Yes.
The information that you need, in fact, you get it is yes, I need that information. Because the basic reason why I didn't rush to stop that election was lack of information. By the time it got to me, the information was still very little.
Karibu Zadok. That is from the media, Zadok Angira. He was one of us. So anaelewa maneno. He's not part of it, but he was one of us at some point. Yes.
Bwana Honorable Secretary, I think you will do your best to see into it that the council gets what he requires as soon as possible, and that for you members, let's cooperate with our council and if he will need anything, you will get the same information immediately from the Honorable Secretary. Otherwise, for now, I wish you all well as you go home. Okay, before I close, there is a special member, the odd one out, who has just joined us. Madam, can you introduce yourself and say something?
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Alice na mimi nakaa Kiambu. Sasa nilisikia kuna meeting nikasema acha nikuje. Mimi ni member wa hiyo number 51.
Karibu, madam. I think as we are closing, you will follow the rest of the proceedings from the wall. So I wish you well as you go back home, and I wish that we keep being united because of this worth cause we are trying to pursue. Thank you, and may God bless you as you go home. Maybe lastly, we can have a word of prayer before we leave.
I think there's a member who has proposed, Wakili, that we do once, one of the prayers that we want the court to grant us is to do a forensic audit of all the property that is owned by Utumishi Investment and all the property that is owned by Ruaraka Housing Estate Limited. Ule mnyama sisi hatuijui. So we want a forensic audit. Yes, as well as account audit. We audit the accounts of those two entities from when tulimalizana kulipana mpaka saizi, so that we know how the value of Ruaraka Investment, and equally we know the value of Utumishi Estate. So we need forensic audits to be conducted. And members, I'll tell you, it will come at a cost. So let us encourage others that have not given us the 1,000 shillings, wazidi kutuma. Let us encourage more people to join in, because I know if all of us, we've been told by Mzee Galgal, we have 16,000 members. If we can even get 1,000 or 2,000 to give that 1,000, itatusukuma tutaweza kumanage hizi costs zote, hizo audits tutazifanya vizuri, so that when we go to court now, we'll have mahali ya kusimama vizuri. But as far as I'm concerned, kijua kali tu, gentlemen and ladies, we have a case. Copies of certificates, tafadhali tunazihitaji. Ama munitumie, mimi nitaziprint, nitapatia wakili. Mnaendelea kunitumia. Endeleeni kunitumia.
What you need to do, just send me the soft copies.
Yes, you will print. Great.
One other thing that I did not inform you guys about is most of these orders that we are seeking, we'll have to seek them in the interim before the case is heard inter parte, because we need more information from that other party. We need the court to compel them to bring proper detailed accounts to court on various issues that we are talking about here. So I'll have to make applications in between, as before the main hearing date, to get proper details that we can only get from the other party. None of you can be in a position to give us that kind of information. It's only the court that can compel them. Yes, yes. Thank you very much.
Okay, na mtu mwenye ako na any burning issue? Any burning issue? Wacha tumalize maombi and then you can give us the burning issue.
hiyo ni kwa upande wa maybe control the exact number ya watu. Unajua sasa wengine mnaweza kule
Yeah. So, nafikiri, who can lead us in prayer and a word of prayer as we close?
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
I consider the meeting officially closed. Mnaweza kuinteract mjuane as tunamaliza. Yeah.